have been £21.95 for 120 metres worth of your wire. So yours today though are just £12.35 for you today. Get your hands on it whilst you can. You've seen how wonderful this tool is for adding in these different colours, and it gives you a really nice subtlety, doesn't it?
It does. You can have a contrast or you can have it subtle. And this green, I must say, this green is really beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful mint chartreuse green.
It's really pretty,
it really
isn't
is.
it?
Yes,
it's a
I
really
like it.
special one. Do treat yourself to this today. It is. What gauge would you say is best to start on?
I was always a proponent of what we would have as a 26 gauge wire in the U.S.
Okay.
Now I really like this one.
0.6.
Yes, yes. It has a little bit more body to it, but it's still very flexible.
I see.
So I start with that, and then go to the 26, and then go to the heavier wires. I rarely use a very, very fine wire. You can. I mean, this is.
That's really fine.
That's really fine, and we kind of just did it to say we could.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
But yeah, I really would. It doesn't really have a practical use.
No. But
any kind of a wire that will hold a shape you can use with the Lazy Daisy.
That's wonderful, isn't it? It's really, really special. Get your hands on this today, £12.35. Now I have got coming up for you the draw plate very important. Shortly.
Yes.
Now, why is this so important?
Viking knit.
Why does, when you do your Viking knit on the Lazy Daisy, you said as soon as you draw it through the draw plate, it becomes something else, and it really does. It makes it look very professional.
Professional, yes.
It really does.
Viking knit, there are two steps to it. So you have your tool, you have your basic, Viking knit tools.
So your Lazy Daisies.
And you've done your weave, and then you may get a weave that looks something like this. The one on this side is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, it is not bad. I still, even if you're that precise with them, I still don't think they look that great. But you could use that. But now you see this one over here. It's not quite so pretty there. It's a bit wonky.
Yeah, it is a bit wonky.
Yes,
it looks like it's been through the mill a few times.
Yes, well, so here's what happens when you pull it through the draw plate. So this one has become like that, and this one has become like that. So that's the difference.
Amazing, isn't it? What happened in that one? Really, that is astonishing.
I mean, this is really the finishing step. You've really got to get to this point. And now when we brought these through the draw plate, we brought it through progressively.
Yes.
So depending on what size of Lazy Daisy tool, this size we would start drawing here, and you have to do it as a progression. You can't just start here. No. Even though that's where your final destination is, you have to do it gradually. And with this one, we would always start here and work our way down each time.
So that is one of the things that gives you a beautiful symmetry, I suppose.
It is. That's what's going to form the really beautiful part of the chain. You really have to get to that. Your weave may not look good. You've got to get to the draw plate. You've got to get to the draw plate.
Now you obviously have your different measurements on here.
Smaller the chain. Now, okay, let's maybe just briefly say what the difference between these two tools is, because that relates to this.
Yeah.
If you want to have a chain that's very supple and moves a lot, and is a loose kind of chain, you have to do it on the 1/4" tool.
Okay, yeah.
Because it will give you the most flexibility and get you the smallest chain.
Okay.
Okay. The 1/2" tool, you can still pull relatively small depending on how the number of loops that you use, but it's a stiffer weave.
Okay.
Okay. So the larger ones, like the piece I'm wearing, that I like to have larger pieces, and the more heavier the wire is, or the more number of wires that you use, you may want to use the larger holes.
Okay.
You always will want to refine it at some point. Now you can also do what we call a flat Viking knit. Now this particular necklace actually has a flat Viking knit. This is flat Viking knit here, but it started out as round, but it's flat now. Yeah. Okay. That was the reason for pulling it through that larger hole. I didn't go any further than that because I wanted to keep the maximum amount of width on there.
Okay.
So if you want to make something wide or heavy, then you can use these larger ones. The smaller ones will give you more of maybe your pendants, or if you want to do something like a vine. Perhaps you want to do something that's very scrolly. You can insert a small wire, heavier wire through your small weave, and then you can actually sculpt with it.
Oh my
So there's so many things and so many ways that you can use these weaves. It's a whole new frontier, really, since we've come up with this tool. Before that, all I had really seen are just fine gold and fine silver bracelets, because it was so difficult to make.
Yeah, of course.
And because this is faster and easier to make, and you can use the colored wires, it's kind of endless as to what you can do with it. I mean, I've just seen some really, really beautiful things done with it.
I adore the fact about this technique, about the Lazy Daisy, about the Viking knit, that the first time I ever saw it, I didn't realize someone had made it.
Ah, yes, it doesn't. It looks like it's machined.
Almost,
it really does.
yeah.
It really does.
It's just wonderful that you can get these looks and techniques
Well, it's
at home.
just such a fun journey, and everybody, when we go to shows, they're always astounded that this kind of an abstract, kind of not so pretty weave
just
can really become
so beautiful.
Something, yeah, really nice.
That's astonishing,
I mean, it's
isn't
just
it?
a matter of pulling it through there.
And you also get your conditioning cloth,
Yes,
don't
the
you,
conditioning
with the-
cloth. Now, I don't always use it, but I like to use it when I have it. All it is a very soft cloth. It's just a soft cloth. And what I like to do is, before we pull something through the draw plate, let's say we were going to pull this through the draw plate.
Okay.
I would have taken this off with my Lazy Daisy tool.
Yeah.
I would take some scrap wire and I would put little handles on the end here. That's what this is. This
green section.
This green section, because it's going to be cut off. So this is what I would use to pull it through there.
Okay, good.
But before I did that, I like to take the cloth and I just gently roll it with my fingers. It's kind of like when you were a little child and you had like little coils of clay,
Yeah.
and you would press them. What it does is, as you're adding your, when you add wire, splice your wire in, sometimes you'll get a little bulge there, or a bump of some sort. Well, this presses then everything to the inside instead of the outside, and then pulling it through the plate, it just kind of loosens it up and just makes it easier to pull through the draw plate. But it's really simple to pull through the draw plate, even if you didn't do this. It's just a habit, and it's how I learned, and so I like to pass it on because I think it has value.
That's good. No, it definitely does. So it's almost a settling way.
Yes, it does. It kind of settles it off of the tool, gets it initially loosened up so that it's just ready to go.
That is so wonderful. So you're getting both of these on your screen today for a tiny £9.95. This is your draw plate with the conditioning cloth, and again, it come with a little bit of instruction within there, which is really useful. Don't forget too, you can watch us back on our YouTube channel, and if you've just tuned in now and thought, oh no, I've just missed that first bit, don't worry, we are repeated throughout the evening, so you can watch us after 9 o'clock all the way through till 9 o'clock this morning, and we are going to put this up on YouTube, so do stay tuned for that also. £9.95, get your hands on this today to really give you a very professional finish, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, you need to have both of them. You're just not going to be happy with it if you don't do the draw plate.
No, definitely.
You just have to trust me on that. You really have to have the two parts.
When you sort of came up with the Lazy Daisy, did you instantly come up with the draw plate as well?
No, that was part of the whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, when the ancients used this, when you draw down wire, like in a machine shop or something, it starts, maybe it's this large, and they do the same thing. I mean, they're going to pull that metal through what they call a draw plate to make to make this fine wire.
Yes.
So that was how they were doing it. They were taking a single wire, doing a simple weave, pulling it through a draw plate, and what it does is it reduces it down and it makes it extremely strong. Okay. So that was part of the process. This is nothing new that I have come up with. I've developed a tool to make it easier, but the weave itself and the technique is centuries old.
Ancient.
It is. It's ancient. It is. It's ancient technology.
And it is creating beautiful effects. It truly, truly is. Now, we are going to be back with Stephanie. I've got a few questions for you now.
Yes, I'm betting you do.
Got quite a few, so we're going to squeeze some in now. We've got time for some later as well. This one's from lovely Michelle. Hello, Michelle in Greater Manchester. She says, can Stephanie give us some tips how to stop the weave from twisting around, please? My loops are neat, but the finished columns are always twisted. Thanks. Thank you very much for that, Michelle.
Okay, so that will go back to what we were talking about earlier. Let me find my weave. That goes directly back to making sure your columns are straight. So when you go under that weave, see, if you pull this way, then you're making it want to turn that way. If you do this too fast.
Yeah.
So if you do that horizontal, if you pull it straight down the column and put your thumb on it, that's when it doesn't go anywhere. It's when you do this and you don't do this, see how it's starting to turn already?
Yeah,
You've got to make it stationary. Yes, yes. You don't want the corkscrew.
No.
Now you can kind of twist it back out again, but it's in there. Okay. You really want to try to avoid that. So the best way is going under the weave, under the X that we talked about, going horizontal and down.
Brilliant.
Lock it in, then move your wire to the right.
Still
or whichever
keeping
way
your
you're
thumb
going.
on that.
I always have my thumb. You don't need to, and some people are down here with it.
No.
But you don't need to see it at all.
No.
Make it go away. Put your thumb right on top of that loop. Don't even look at it. You don't need to see that loop.
No.
It's not there anymore.
Okay.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's vanished.
So that should keep your column straight.
Wonderful. I hope that helps you, Michelle. Thank you very much for messaging that in. We've got some more. This one is from Margaret. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Stephanie. Beautiful designs. When you are working with two coloured wires, where does the wire sit when you are going to work the second wire?
Where does the wire sit?
So when you've got
see.
the two colours of wire, where does the wire sit when you're going to go on to the second?
Okay, so let me put it back on here. And when you add a second wire, the techniques that you use, and we didn't get to the splice, you know, how to add a wire, but those splicing techniques follow through to using two wires. I mean, you're going to do those exactly the same. But they're going to be running down the columns doing the same thing. So you're always going to have one wire ahead of the other wire, and it's going to catch up, and it's just going to sit here.
Okay.
Until it's time for it to be used again.
So you can just ignore it. You can just leave
you're just going to drop this wire. It's kind of, I don't know if she may be familiar with knitting. If you're knitting and you're doing a design like a snowman, the background is white, and then you're going to make his, you know, the orange nose.
Yeah.
So you drop the white and you pick up the orange until you don't need it anymore, and then you drop it and pick up the white again.
I see.
That's what this is doing. So I'm done with the pink because my green's in the way. I'm going to work the green all the way around and just leave this hanging here until I need it again. Then I will pick it up and bring it around. So they're just going to chase each other all the way around. They're just going to keep doing that.
Wonderful.
And then if you want to stop one of the colors, you're just going to leave it underneath. You're going to be burying it with your regular splicing technique, and then you can just go back to the one solid color wire again.
Wonderful.
You can kind of see. So here's your solid. Here's where it's blended, and here I've gone to solid again.
Yeah.
And then I would start blending here again.
Wonderful.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Thank you very, very much for sending that in, love. We've got another one. We've got loads in for you today. Do check out your baskets for me, lovely ladies and gentlemen. I've probably got about 10 in baskets at the moment. Do just check those out. Can Stephanie explain, please, how to take colour-coated wire through the draw plate without removing the colour coating, please? Thank you. Good question. So is this a technique of drawing it down? Is it a speed thing?
No, you do want to go slow.
Slowly.
Slow, not so much for the coating, but to keep that spiral out of it.
Okay, yes.
So you don't want to draw it too fast. It may be, if she's having problems with going through draw plate with the wire, I would say it may be the quality of the wire, because that is generally not a problem. And the draw plate that we have is a plastic. It has a bevel in it, so you want to pull from the front to the back, so it has a slight bevel in the front, and pull it very, very slow but very precise through there. But slow is good. But it shouldn't scratch it at all.
No.
No. So
possibly make sure you're using the front. So when we say the front, we mean the side with the measurements
on. The front that has the measurements on it.
Because the other side is flatter, isn't it?
It is. It is flat on this side, and then it has a bevel on this side. So you want to go front to back, slowly through. The only other thing I could think of is if it was possibly damaged in the weaving process. If it was weaving too tight, then that might accentuate it when it comes through the draw plate.
Yeah.
I have found that particularly this happens with black wire. No matter how careful you are, sometimes that black wire may become scratched, or another color may become scratched. If you have access to permanent markers, in those colors, you can actually touch it up, and it really does work. So
Clever.
that's another thing, but you don't want to have it all that way unless you're going for that antique look.
Well, yes.
You know, I've had some
Vintage.
students in class where they were so tight that the copper backing started showing through, so we took a little piece of sandpaper and we roughed up that surface, and then it looked great, and it looked like they had an antique object.
That's fab.
So, but unless that's what you're going for, yeah, you don't want necessarily. So loosen the wire as you're weaving for one thing, and slow and determinate through the draw plate.
Fab. Always
And a
front
good
to
quality
back
wire.
as
A good
well.
quality wire, because it may be the wire.
And make sure that you don't just jump, like we said before, because I'm
Yes.
sure that could damage the wire.
Well,
as
and the other thing is to make sure that you are doing the progression down.
Yes, the
so if
progression
you're
to it.
trying, if you're taking this, this half-inch size and immediately trying to go way down here to the 3/8, you're going to crush that wire, and then you're going to damage it. So you
Yeah.
have to make sure that you do the step down.
Okay,
So that's the other thing.
Thank you very, very
Yeah.
much for that. And now we've had lots of people messaging about how we have flattened this.
Oh, I knew that would happen.
Because I saw it and fell absolutely in love. We've had loads of messaging. Thank you. We've had so many. Thank you for everyone who sent them in. How have we managed to flatten it for this piece here? Because it's got a chainmail look to
doesn't it? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It really does.
Okay, so I thought, well, how am I going to make a flat Viking knit? So I tried to come up with a flat, tool, and I couldn't do it. And I thought, well, what if I, flatten the round one? Well, then it, and I did it, and I did a roller on it, and it was awful. So, process of elimination. I finally came up with a technique. So here's what you have to know.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which tool you do it on. You can actually do it on the 1/4" tool as well. I've done it on the 1/4" tool, done 2 strips and then put like pearls or stones in between with head pins to make it wider.
Ooh,
that makes a
really
lovely
cute.
one. Okay, so here's the trick. You have to use an even number of loops.
Okay.
So on your large tool, you're going to use 6, 8, 10. On your smaller tool, I would say you really probably want to use all 6 of them. You have to have even number of loops.
Okay.
You absolutely have to have those columns straight. Okay. So this is not something that you want to start in the beginning. You want to make sure that you've got those columns straight. And then when you splice your wires in, normally when we do Viking knit, it doesn't matter where you splice the wire in. You run out of wire, you splice the wire in.
Okay.
When you're going to go flat, you want to add it in the same column each time. And actually, I think we've done that on this. It may be hard to see. Let's see here. Where is the splice?
You've done it so seamlessly.
Yeah. Anyway, the splice is here, so if I was going to add another wire, I'm going to do it in this column each time.
Okay.
Because what that will do is when I do flatten it, all of that splice will be in the back. So it also gives more structure because there's more wire in that particular column. It's stronger there, and it actually will bend nicer. So you can actually get if you want to do a bracelet, it won't matter so much. But a necklace, if you want it to hang better, you can actually fold it, or start pressing it along that line where it's heavier. So it will scoop better. It'll give you a better line on it. The other thing is you're going to have to pull it through the draw plate I'd say at least twice.
Okay.
So that's, again, having your columns already straight and making sure that you have that equal rung space throughout the whole thing will make that easier. So then once you have that done, all you have to do is, I'll just do it on this one. You're going to find your center column. This is the one that has all the splices.
Yeah.
And this has 6 on it.
Okay.
And remember that I haven't pulled this through the draw plate, so it's not going to look exactly the same. And just take it and you press fingers along the column.
So just backing up along that column.
So I do this column and then I press it on this column. And then I will often take my draw plate.
Okay.
And just try to even it out a little bit, like that.
Oh, I see. So you flatten it down.
It's just flat. Now, the other thing is, see this?
Oh my gosh, that looks amazing.
You don't want to flatten it any thinner than the width of this column.
No.
The first thing that I did was, of course, I took a roller and tried to roll it, and it was awful, and I ruined the whole thing.
I was going to say, you must weaken the wire,
Well, it doesn't weaken it, it compresses it, and it won't move.
Right, okay.
This, this way it will keep moving because it still has structure, and you can put head pins of things through it, and you can make dangles off of necklaces and all kinds of things. So That's the flat Viking knit. It's your round Viking knit with a few tricks, and you got a whole new thing to play with.
I love that, and actually I love it with the coloured, the colour
yeah,
graduation.
It still looks good that way.
It looks stunning.
In this particular piece, there are a lot of the flat Viking knit ribbons in here. I don't know if they can get a close up, but all of these are flat Viking knit that I've just formed into ribbons. So this is kind of to look like a little Mardi Gras there. So those are all flat Viking knits that I've shaped around.
I absolutely adore that.
So that's another fun thing. I'm telling you, there are so many things you can do with this.
I absolutely adore it.
So we've got multiple colors going, different gauges of wire. We can insert things inside of them. You can add beads to them. I don't think we'll get to that today, but there is a way to add beads without going through the draw plate.
Wow.
You can do the flat Viking knit. You know, you can have fun.
There is so much.
You need to get the tool. You can really have fun, and it's fast and easy.
I have got more tools and goodies coming up for you shortly. Very, very quickly, we're going to squeeze in a little bit of twisted wire for you right now. Just because we've been talking about different colours and how well they work together. And let's face it, you're not afraid of colour, are you, Stephanie?
No.
No, it's not an issue for you.
We have a love affair, actually.
Really? Yes, I can tell that. Definitely can tell that. I've got lots of twisted wire here for you today. Now, this is one of very, very popular combinations, actually, the black and the silver. This is your 1 mil twisted wire, 10 meters width on here. So essentially, it's your 1 millimeter wire, 20 meters worth twisted together, which means you have got this beautiful twist effect. Great for using on cuffs, great as a base wire effect on here as well. You've also got the 0.8 mil in the 10 meters. Now this is your gold and silver. And then lastly, but by no means leastly, you have the 0.6 10 meters in the beautiful copper on copper effect. So it's two sets of 1 mil twisted, so essentially it's a 2 mil thickness. You've then got your 0.8, which is essentially doubled, and again for your 0.6 as well. So you've got 30 meters worth of this in total. Your price on these today should be £16 an each. We're looking at these because we saw that you've used quite a few of these colours actually in your piece, haven't you? You go for, so in your steampunk one, you've got the silvers, the golds, the antique bronze is in there.
Yes.
Why do you think these colours work so well together?
I don't know, they just do.
They do.
They just do.
It's kind of a steampunky vintage.
Is, yeah, it's vintage. That's exactly what it is. It's it's vintage.
It's a vintage effect that you're getting with this colour palette today. $11.95 all. Now, lovely Stephanie, I'm leaving you for a short time, but we'll be back to you in a bit.
All right.
We're going to be back with the lovely Stephanie very, very soon, probably in about half an hour, actually.
Okay, that sounds good.
What are we going to be looking at next time?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we need to look and see what our viewers want to see. I'm guessing they're going to want to see how to add the wire.
Yes.
I think that's essential, and there's special techniques for that, and I would like to show them that.
Fab.
But otherwise, maybe they have some ideas what they would like to see. I don't know.
I love that. Get your messages in. What would you like to see? Would you like to see how to encase them? Would you like to see how to add on gemstones? Would you like to see how to add on more wire? Whatever it is, Stephanie's your lady, to be honest. Start your text with the word JM Studio 60777, or just get yourself on our website. It's jewelrymaker.com. Now we're going to be back with Stephanie, but after this break, we have got Tanzanite.
Ooh. Nice.
New gemstone strands, and the gemstone I've actually only been able to hold once ever, the very, very rarest of rare aragonite. All of those.
Maybe we're having a different conversation. Maybe he's reacting differently, not fighting in that, almost getting decapitated. What I want to get to, though, is while socially, and by socially I mean social media, socially the story was Odell Beckham and the Giants. Substantively, the story is Washington Redskins. I mean, because it's more about them for me, because if they go home 0-3, I mean, how much have we been killing Kirk Cousins this year? Now, besides his first half meltdown toward the end of the half, he played very efficiently, outplayed Eli Manning, played well when he had to. Jay Gruden called an aggressive game, had a fake punt. Look at the injuries that they sustained in the secondary against that New York Giants receiving core. So for Washington to show that kind of character, what we're talking about, last week we were talking about leaks. We're talking about, you know, Kirk Cousins, whether, you know, his character turned into a pumpkin.
Or whether or not he was actually playing for his job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For them to come out of there with a win, to me, I mean, look, the Giants, they got a lot to regret, but the story here is Washington, absolutely.
I would agree. All right, some NBA. Pat Riley said today that Chris Bosh's career with the Heat is likely over. The news isn't exactly surprising, with Bosh failing the Heat's preseason physical a few days ago. Now, Bosh has missed significant time each of the past 2 seasons due to blood clots, but based on what he said on Twitter, it sounded like he still is eyeing a return to the game. Now, on Friday, D. Wade said he told Chris Bosh to focus on his family first. Look, Miami took a lot of criticism because some people felt like that they were not exactly being transparent in what was going on with Chris Bosh. He's failed the physical.
Even from Bosh.
Yeah,
he said they wrote him off.
He sort of insinuated that strongly. I mean, it looks like and feels like that his career is over. So I guess I'm a little confused as to why he is continuing to talk like there could be some possible return.
Well, you know, the player is always the last one to see it, or more often than not, they're the last one to see it and accept the fact that their career is over, especially at such a young age when he can still be productive and thinks he's got a lot left to contribute. My concern, you know, while the Heat doctors didn't clear him and they don't think it's safe to put him back on the court with the blood clots and whatnot, my concern is that some desperate team out there is going to see his talent and maybe, you know, they will come together and decide, and I don't mean to suggest that, you know, the medical professionals would commit malpractice in the name of upgrading a roster, but maybe somebody else will see it differently. I don't know. I can't speak for every other doctor. I heard earlier that the Heat believe that no doctor will clear him and that his career is in fact over. That remains to be seen. If it's over, it's unfortunate, because life truly comes at you fast. I mean, just a couple of months ago, it feels like we were talking about the possibility of the Heat having been retooled enough to maybe have a rematch or a reunion, with LeBron in the playoffs. Now Wade's gone. Now Bosh is gone. But if it's over for him, 2 things. One, he's as versatile and intelligent and sophisticated enough to have a wonderful life. He already does have a wonderful life, but continue to have a wonderful life outside of basketball. And second, see you in Springfield, because he'll go to the Hall of Fame. Right. He'll go to the Hall of Fame. He's had enough of a fulfilling and substantive and successful career to warrant a spot in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think that's a stretch by any means.
No, I don't think that's a stretch either. It is always tough to see athletes when they aren't given the choice. You know, like this feels like something being taken away from him as opposed to him choosing to leave the game, and that's why it makes it kind of difficult. But I just hope for him, and I know it's hard for all of them. They never know when their last game is going to be played, and this is even harder circumstances than most, because I'm sure the last time he played, he never looked at it that way. I just hope for his sake that he doesn't try to jeopardize his life, honestly.
And that's where the doctors come in.
Yeah, and
so if it were up to him, he'd be playing.
Exactly, and I was like, at some point, you got to really put this in perspective and realize what's at risk. And for Eric Spoelstra, like, I'm sure for the Heat, this was not an easy decision. They had actually every incentive to play him, if they wanted to do something nefarious, they could have done that because of what their team looked like even last year. They could have done it, but they put his health first. I just hope he does the same thing and doesn't.
Well, when you got Wade saying what he said,
yeah,
it's like, you know, he's got enough people in his ear that actually care about him, that don't necessarily have a business interest or a conflict of interest as it relates to his availability or not. So no, it'll be interesting to see if somebody does in fact clear him. But one of the greatest teammates.
Yeah, for sure.
I never played with him. I mean, from the outside looking in, one of the greatest teammates. They don't win those 2 championships in Miami, go to 4 finals. Needless to say, without his sacrifice. Not just what he contributed, but his willingness to do so. He is a model. He's a template when you're talking about these super teams coming together. Yeah, somebody's got to be Bosh.
And I think he became even more appreciated when we saw some of the awkwardness that Kevin Love went through.
Absolutely.
Then we understood.
But hopefully it's not over. Hopefully we're premature in referencing his entire career. All right, still to come. If you fire Les Miles, it's because you're sure to get somebody better. Right, LSU? Right? Right?
Had to.
His and Hers is brought to you by the Audi A4.
The hardest part for me was telling my dad this morning. It's like losing a kid. It's like losing his grandson. That's the part that really hurts, because when I told him, he started yelling. It's emotional.
And when he pitched, and I think that's what the guys will say too, is as bad as he would make you with some of the stuff he would do. You just seen that little kid that you see when you watch kids play Little League or something like that. That's the joy that Jose played with, and the passion he felt about playing. That's what I think about.
I'm really sad. Hold on. Let me do it later.
I don't know if there's words to express, how I feel. It's a tremendous loss. And my heart goes out to his family.
Very much. It's from Karen.
Yeah, it does.
I've used it with the bean thread and it does hold.
Oh, well done.
Fabulous. High five to you. Brilliant.
I'm going to give that a go then.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
It does, yeah.
Wonderful. The bundle's about to sell out, so you get spool tamer, you get 3 of them. They are Beadalon, and then of course your 0.4 wire. So I'll try and put that back together. And quickly, are you going to be using the draw plate in a moment?
Yeah.
Are you? Because I'll quickly show everyone what it is so you can get it, so that when Karen uses it.
I've got one already out if you want to
oh, yeah.
show that one.
Absolutely. Is it the same one we're going to have?
It should be. It came from the Lazy Daisy.
Probably is.
Yeah.
Because mine's in... oh, actually, I'll open it so I can get the felt out as well. Actually, just so you can see that. Oh, do you know what? I'm not gonna, because ours doesn't have the black. Yours is a bit more exciting than mine. So this is amazing. What you do with here, Karen, please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've learned is, can I lift this up? Can I be naughty? Yeah. You would have something like this. That's maybe not necessarily as much as you want to do or finished, but for an example, you would have this. You would take it off once you've sort of finished it and made sure it's not going to unravel or whatever. You would do your finishing, which Karen obviously will tell you all about, because that's what she does, and I'm not very good at that. But you would take it off this, so what you're seeing now wouldn't be here. You would use your felt and you would roll it within it to smooth it out. Is that what you do?
That's right, yeah.
And then you would put it through here, so choose a hole, whichever one. Obviously it's not going to be on this anymore, I'm just talking about this loose. Put it through the first hole that you think it's going to fit through, and you pull it through, and it sort of almost pulls into uniformity, doesn't it? It gets all the links in perfect uniformity, and then you would go through the one below, make it tighter, and you can continue to go for as low, for as tight or as small as you want, or as long as you want.
Exactly, yeah.
So obviously Karen will get to show us that throughout the process of what we're doing, but that's, I guess, a rough kind of explanation of what Karen will do it much better than I when she's actually doing it, but I want to get the price on so you can get it, so that as Karen's doing it you think, right, I want that now, it's there and it's available. So jot down, it's $9.95 for this one, and again it's a generic sort of price point we do for it. It's a Stephanie Eddy product. You can have a look on our website, stephanieeddy.com as well. But I've heard, I don't think anybody has been able to make it quite as good as Stephanie has. It's £9.95 for it, and again it does sort of go through things for you as well, and explains it in there as well. So if you need help, you need gauges, or you want any extra help, you've got that there. Plus we've got it all on YouTube as well, and Karen's about to go through it for you now as well. So Karen, I'll finally let you get back to it.
Right, so I've shown you how to start off the Viking weave, so I'm going to show you how to add wire. So we're about to come to the sort of the beaded Viking.
Oh yes,
knit
I'll bring this
so,
over so if you haven't seen it, you can see what Karen's talking about.
There we are. So we're coming up to sort of this section here. So what you want to do is get your knitting onto your tool, onto your Viking knit tool, so that top hole is in line with the last loop that you made. Sorry, let's get that where you can see it. So right there, where the last loop that you made, leave the tail of wire, because I'll show you what to do with that now in a second. So what you're going to do is take your new wire, take it through the loop, down through the guide hole, and again leave yourself a tail that you can hold on to. Then what you do is you just carry on knitting as before.
Do you find it quite therapeutic? Because I find it therapeutic watching you.
Yeah, it is. And like I say, when you get into the zone, you can pretty much carry on watching telly, or you know, carry on. I've done it while watching Jewellery Maker.
I want to try it. Can I play with the one
Please
that you
do.
demonstrated
Please
with
do,
earlier?
yeah.
I want to see if I can do it while you do it.
I suppose it's like any other sort of knitting or crocheting. It's one of those things that you can do while watching telly and sort of just chill out, get into the zone, and just let it happen.
You tend to use your thumb just to guide it, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, because once you've pulled it through, I've noticed you can continue to straighten the wire. Is that just habit, or is that something we should sort of adopt as well?
I think you don't want your wire to snag as you're pulling it through. So if you can see that there's, especially when you, because I use sort of metre length wires for each sort of section.
Right.
Of Viking weave. I try not to make them any longer than that, because it can make it difficult. So if you say like a metre and then add wire as you finish with each piece, and a metre of wire, you're usually getting about 2.5 centimetres of Viking weave on the smaller one there. That's what you usually get out of it, you know.
I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
So I'm going to take it. Actually, I can start adding the beads now. I'm just going
to... I've done that one a bit too tight.
And if you find that it's getting a bit too tight on there for your wire to go around the loop, what you do is you take it... I'll take it off. You take it off, like so. And you turn it around and you see the cone end, you push that up, and that will widen your knit so that you can then get the wire behind your loops and you're not sort of struggling there. Right, before we go any further, what I'm going to show you to do is, because you've got the old original wire, the end of the original wire, you're going to just cut it down as close to the work as you can, and then you've got your new tail there to catch up into your work. So we're going to start adding beads now.
Ooh.
So this is the exciting part. These beads are gorgeous.
Are they good to work with? Do you like them?
Lovely, lovely. They're just perfect.
So just so you know, the Lazy Daisy draw plate has sold out. Is that what you're talking about? No, the kit has sold out. Forgive me with the gems. Forgive me, I just looked up and saw what was on screen. Martha, you've lost me. I'm just knitting now.
She's in the zone.
So you could just choose any 2 or 3 mil beads that you've got at home that you want to use, couldn't you?
Exactly.
You did miss out, unfortunately, in the kit.
So there you are. I've put the first bead on. As you can see, I'm doing exactly the same technique with the wire. I'm just adding a little bead onto the loop as I go. That's the only change here. And also what you get in the kit as well is like a little pin, which I'm going to show you with the original is one of these, so as you can just lift those each, you know, if you've only got one that's a bit stubborn, you can just lift that up with the pin to help get your wire around as well.
We've just got a wee message from Suzanne out in Spain. Oh, can we come and join you and do some Viking knitting out there? Hi Karen, how much longer does the Viking, and this is a tricky question, how much longer does the Viking knit get when putting it through the draw plate? Well, there's lots of varying factors there, isn't there, depending on the wire gauges?
It's a difficult one. Yeah. It depends on the wire gauge, and it depends on how tight you've made your knit. So that is a difficult one. What I would sort of say is write down what you've made from it. I mean, from my point of view, I would say I'm trying to make one that's about maybe 2.5, 3 inches either side of the focal point. So that would probably, I've got about 2 inches of knit there, and that's probably going to give me about 2.5, maybe 3 inches at a push. maybe not as much as 3 inches, but from what I'm doing, because I'm only going to put it through the drawer plate. I think it's once or twice through the drawer plate to get what I'm after, but that would, yeah, I'd try and get another.
The other day we did a design inspiration show and we did some Viking knitting, and I think we had a look at it. We measured it a couple of times on a particular gauge and how many times that went through. So if you trying to remember the previous design inspiration show that we did that one, I can't think off the top of my head what one it was. I'll have a think, and you may be able to look back on that one on YouTube if you've got the internet, and that might be because we measured it with a ruler, I think, a few times we did it. That might help with one particular gauge. But as you've said, just give it a wee try with different gauges and with the tightness of your knit. Mine's getting tighter as I go. Deborah's in Pennsylvania. Karen, by adding beads, am I correct? You don't draw the weave through the draw plate then?
You do. I'll show you. You do, but obviously not the beaded bit. So I'll show you how to do that.
This is a cheeky wee treat. I love this one.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So it does still go through. And great question, actually.
Yeah.
Because I would have been a numpty and tried to pull them through and be like, what's going on? Not working. This is so much fun.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is
I'm
therapeutic.
really enjoying it. Sorry, Martha. I'm probably... If you've been saying anything to me, I'm probably, yeah, we can bring in a new treat if you fancy. I think Karen and I, yeah, let's bring in, oh, how about silver wire and gold wire in the same gauges, 0.5, 0.6, 0.4. There we go. Are you that excited? So thought to be some of our more popular sizes, especially for Viking knit with your 0.4 and your 0.6. As you said, 0.6 is probably a maximum for you on the weaving, on the Viking knit. So you've got silver and you've got gold. I'm going to Germany for the weekend. Maybe I'm getting into character. I can speak 2 words in German. In fact, I'm not even speaking, it's just saying. That's about it. 0.4 and 0.6 millimeter gauges, and gold and silver, you get a bit of both. 10 meters in each, and I probably couldn't get anything at the airport for that price. No, I thought you said less than £2 a reel there. You did. £7.95 for 4 reels of the most popular gauges and the most popular wires. Sorry, I'm not looking at you. I can't stop doing this. This is amazing. I'll go back to yourself, Karen, and we've got another.
So what I'm going to, once I've put on 1 row of beads, I'm then going to go 2 rows of just ordinary Viking knit again. So again, same principle. Wire around the previous loops. Pull the wire around the bead like so, and then carry on.
Oh, that was the wire, just in case you thought there was a wee mouse loose in the studio there.
Was that the wire squeaking?
Yeah. Or my hands.
Oh, yeah.
One or the other.
It is squeaking. I heard it then, yeah.
This is lovely fun. So, Karen, we're putting on the beads. Doing a row of beads. I'm not watching you, that's why I'm asking you.
Yes.
You've just got me into wire weaving now.
Sorry, I'm having a struggle getting it through. That's because my hands have gone.
So
if I hold this up to me a sec just to get that through.
Yep. We'll allow you to do that. Do you want me to see how mine's coming on as we do that? Not because I'm particularly proud of it. Karen did pretty much the first 3 layers. I think I've just done 2. Yeah, right. It might look okay there, but look, hold on. Where's it going? Look, it's going to be a bit wrong here. What's that all about? Got a wee bit too excited, a wee bit too tight, Karen, up at the front.
Oh, right, I'm with you. Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, that's only where the wires got caught up. That's all. From your tail wire, I think. That's all you've done there, I think.
Hey,
yeah.
Lots and lots of people coming in for the wire bundle. That's the way to do it. You may have missed out on the deal on the actual kit, but it doesn't mean you don't miss out on the wire deal. You can still take advantage of that. But again, you might not be looking for it for Viking knit. It might be something you might want to take up you've never done before. I have to say, and this was no disrespect, I can actually do this. I'm finding this quite easy.
Yeah.
Quite fun. Although you clearly see I'm not that good at it, I'm finding the motion that I can repeat it and I can understand how it forms and how it goes. So that I'm finding the understanding of it quite easy. The skill of it I'll have to get to grips with, but